So, how you been, Shane?
I've been great. How about yourself?
Good, good. I think big kudos to Shane, by the way, guys. He's been doing a great job with the trivia nights with Veal and Green Talks, I think. So
Uh,
that's been very, very fun.
Thank you so much.
Um, I definitely appreciate it. I think it's been a nice little break so that I can focus on some of the work here. So hopefully you guys are going to be pretty stoked after some of the stuff I'm going to show you guys here. So let's just kick this off. I'm just going to share my screen, go over a couple slides with you guys. Just try to get this to work properly first. All right, here we go. Cool. Hopefully everybody can see this. Shane, you got this
I
on your
do.
end?
Yep. You want me to make it full
All right.
screen?
Sorry, what?
There it is. Got it.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so we're just going to kick this off very quickly. I'm just going to fly through some of these, just outline a couple things, then we'll dedicate a good, half hour after this to an open floor kind of format. We'll let you guys come on stage, ask the question, and we'll provide the answer as best we can. So obviously, big thing to kick off. You guys have been noticing we've been doing POAPs, so here's another one. Bottom left of the screen, feel free to go fill out the form. We'll leave this on the deck throughout the whole evening so that you guys can go and fill that in. We're hoping to get some feedback as well on this kind of system for these POAPs. Google Forms are pretty useful, but I'm personally working on some stuff to get some juicier experience in place for you guys. So please feel free to drop in some feedback in the feedback channels. So big news today, everybody saw, I think we had turned 30 on the toy side. It's a pretty big deal for everybody involved. This has been a company that's been around for a long time. So when Todd is able to join us next week, we're going to let him dive into a lot of specifics around what that involves. So what that means for us tonight, obviously we want to kind of give a big shout out to the upcoming Phygital. We're all pretty stoked about it, but I'm going to keep the content related subjects for Todd for when he's able to join us. So this isn't going to be a very content heavy AMA from me. It's going to be really focused on features and stability updates, what we got planned for the month, and obviously to answer questions. I think there's been a lot of really good ones thrown out there over the last couple of weeks, so hopefully I can answer some of them ahead of Todd. So one thing we can talk about, we've got a special anniversary drop coming up. The date is still TBD. It was kind of hidden in our post today on the website, but we have something planned for you guys this month, in between all the other stuff we're going to be doing in February. Todd will be revealing it next week, so that's going to be pretty exciting. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream as well, we've got two events with Todd planned. One is official at the end of the month for the second Toast and Roast, which starts next week. And obviously, we're just trying to figure an actual date for next week with Todd still, but it'll be either the 13th or the 15th. We're just waiting on confirmation on that. Also, we will be announcing some pretty cool and very new stuff that we'll be able to work on this year, this month. One thing is for sure being announced this month, and then we're hopefully having a second announcement by the end of the month. So lips are magnetically sealed on this. So do try your best to get it out of us. We're not going to reveal what it is until it comes out. But hopefully come next week, maybe we're able to share one of those tidbits. Big other second bit of news from us, we're officially launched on our new Twitter account. Here's a second QR code. I know I seem like I'm really obsessed with QR codes, but for those of you watching this and can't really type, here you go. Please go give us a follow. We're going to be talking about some growth ideas over the next couple of months to really grow this. As I'm sure you guys can imagine, the MTD OG badge has already been used, but it's going to come in pretty clutch with this kind of stuff. So if those of you who have it, I recommend you hold on to it as much as you can. You see that you can see tomorrow we've got 2 allow lists already growing from just 1 from last week. So do tune in. It's going to be really exciting for the next 2-3 months. So moving on to community related stuff. So one thing that's going to be very important for us is we're just going to be very, very clear about formalizing how we work on Discord and how things are done on Discord. It is going to be our main platform moving forward for sure. So one thing to do that is we're just going to become very, very formal as to how everything is portrayed to you guys, and making sure you guys know exactly, what we use, how we use it, and all that kind of stuff. So one cool thing is we do get a lot of requests, and to kind of help funnel everything together, we're just going to be putting out an official link to a Google form for any kind of partnership requests. So that way you guys can just funnel any ideas, or if you guys are part of a community, if you haven't already talked to us, you can provide all the information that we need to review everything. It's just a formality, but it will help with everything we do. So regarding content, in Q1, as we had mentioned a month ago, there's a lot of cool stuff happening throughout the year. Right now, we're on a bit of a ramp-up period, so there's going to be some cool stuff that's still to be announced and released this quarter. Q2 is going to be very different, but so far so good in this quarter. So again, once we get to the AMA portion of this, we'll provide any kind of clarity or insights we can. Finally, I do want to address this topic. We do, me and myself and Veal and Shane and Green Talks and Tech, and we're all very much aware of all the shipping and broken items issues. It is very frustrating for everybody involved. So do believe us. We are doing what we can. Again, while we are called McFarlane Toys Digital, we are technically not McFarlane Toys Store. So we do work with that team very closely on everything from promos and shipping for promos and everything you guys do with us. So do bear with us. We're communicating things as best we can, but I just wanted to reassure everyone is being heard. So again, I'm sure Todd's going to have a lot of things to share with us when he's able to join us later. So when it comes to upcoming features on my end of things, the main thing that obviously you guys have seen is the marketplace. So that was a cool little update that we were doing. This is in line with a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing this month, both alongside some of the things Todd is going to announce over the month with us, but also some things that we're working on more on the technical side of things. Rareable's been a very good collaborator on this front, and to be frank, I've really appreciated all the feedback. As soon as we released the update, there were some cool little nitpicks from some of you that I thought was interesting, because since I've started with this project, there hasn't been any updates to that website. So that was very helpful for me as the product person on this team. Finally, you guys kind of noticed we've been able to ramp up our POAPs like crazy this month. That's due to just some pretty cool minting mechanics that we've got being tested essentially with these POAPs. Our goal right now is to expand that capability to be able to power some really cool features for the end of the quarter and Q2 especially. And obviously, we've got some pretty cool seasonal content that's being built on top of those two things. We had hinted to some of that stuff in the December town hall, so I'm going to leave a bit of an air of mystery on that as to what that is. Finally, one big update. We've been having a lot of issues with Mac OS recently, and I think some of you have progressively been chiming in more and more about that. We've suspected that there's been a lot of breaking changes pushed to Mac OS because of the Vision Pro. So we're currently dealing with stabilizing that. So we've got a final build I'm testing later tonight, and hopefully we can push out some updates to you guys in the next coming days. And I've been saying that for about a week, but it's because we keep running into a couple different edge cases. So bear with us on this one, but barring that, we should have something for you guys to be able to update everything on by early next week. Finally, we are doing we're working under the hood right now regarding to everything that's a wallet as a service integration that we do. So we use Crossbin at the moment. We're currently looking at how we're using it and how that is affecting certain things that make my life a little easier or harder when it comes to giving you guys access to those promos, those allow lists, and how we're able to do that with the toy store. So there's a lot of work being done, and there's actually an announcement that will come up in the next 6-7 weeks regarding this, which is going to be a pretty big deal for us. So do bear with us on this one. There's going to be some changes to how you guys connect to things, probably, but it's all for the better in the long and medium term for sure. Especially for those of you who like to hop between us and the toy store. That's a little hint right there. Finally, obviously, as we had talked about in December, this is Batman's 85th. Don't worry, that's not been forgotten. Right now, we're looking at some cool stuff in Q2 and beyond for that. Q1 is really dedicated to a lot of growth, a lot of unique content and new features. So once Q2 starts, expect all that stuff to really rev up gear really quickly. And that's it, I think. Yep. So that's it for me. So like I said, what we'll do, we're going to shift this over to a standard AMA format. So Shane, if you want to help
Yeah.
here, I've just opened requests.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
anybody can kind of hop on if they want.
Yeah, they can just raise their hand and we'll bring them up on stage.
Awesome. Nice. Cool. And so just FYI, guys, as I said before, there's a lot of content answers that I do not have, and I'm not. I'm being honest on that one. So all the content stuff is in Todd's hands, and when he's able to join us next week, there will be a lot of stuff he will talk about. So I can try to answer the best I can to some of that, but yeah, just a big FYI there. So let's see.
Yeah, I don't see any hands raised right now.
All right, no problem, no problem.
There's got to be some questions out there.
Ah, I've got one.
All right, where let me see if I got, oh, there we go. All right, and invite to speak. Come on up, Kobe Jack.
Yep,
Hello.
We can hear you.
How you doing? So yeah, my a really interesting kind of roadmap you guys have here. I like kind of the sounds like you guys are going to integrate a little more with the MTD toys and get kind of the digital mixed a little bit better with the physical aspect, which is exciting. My question is some of the like pictures and stuff on OpenSea don't show up like correctly, and although on like Rarible they do work. Is that something that is like on the roadmap to be fixed? And also some of the images, like I know like my Spawn Gunslinger poster is with the SIG is doesn't show up at all, like even on the McFarlane website. So like is there something to should I just like make support tickets to report that, or like I guess what's the like plan for kind of fixing some of that stuff?
Yeah, I think you're not the only one, and I think there's actually still a ticket open. That's kind of on me about that. So the main reason that happens is some of the collections before December 1st, when we had that third web incident, were pointing over to a bad URL. So there's some collections that I do still need to get to fix up on that front. One of them, especially that I finally had the chance to revisit recently, was the Eternal Dragon. So there is a small list of collections like that where there have been image issues. Sometimes if just doing a refresh metadata on those dApps doesn't work, that'll be very clear if that's one of those collections that might be on my list. But right now that is that collection, and Eternal Dragon, I think one of the other Dragon collections. I haven't had the time to get back to that in the last week or so, but yeah, some of those are on my radar for sure. But it's mainly due to that. The collection itself is not broken. It's just the image, really.
Yeah, I mean it does work like in the like
Mhm.
McFarlane like digital website as well as like in the app, but I see some of the external ones, they just don't work correctly. But
Yeah.
I guess my question is, should we be reporting that stuff? Are you guys just aware of like some of that, or?
You should always report it. It helps. But I'm already aware of some of them. It's been over a month for some of them, but yeah, I'm aware. But you still please do keep reporting them.
Mhm. And then in like regards to the POAPs that you guys just released, like there's no image data that shows up on OpenSea, and the only way to kind of see that stuff is through Rarible. Is that kind of the same?
Yeah, for on that front with the POAPs, I think the DApps, depending on which one you're talking about, are getting smarter when it comes to detecting what's been airdropped and what hasn't. And so I think if you're seeing a difference like that, it's probably due to their various like airdrop spam setups.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah, I mean,
possible
I just
that so it's
yeah,
possible
just
that
go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
it's possible that one DApp is showing you something when it's not just because of that.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just I normally browse this stuff through OpenSea, but it's just not. It just says content not available, and there's like
Yeah,
none of the content exists for any of the like drops at all for the POAPs. So
that's worth looking into for sure. I think the thing is we haven't had too many conversations with OpenSea, obviously, because we talk to Rarible more than anything. But when it comes to the POAPs, I mean, unless there's like if you guys have a really big want to be able to trade them right away, we could maybe open those convos with them to make sure they're refreshing the collection data, the index. But otherwise, if it's visible and Rarible, when and if ever we officially list them, they'll be fully accessible there at the very least. Yeah.
yeah,
Have
it
you
was like
tried Magic Eden by any chance? Because I know they support Polygon now.
no, I haven't. I typically just use my Soul wallet with Magic Eden, so I haven't
Okay.
connected anything else. But it was my first time actually ever connecting to Rarible itself, just to see what the POAPs were, because yeah, I'd
Yeah.
never done it before. So
Okay, cool. Well, just also because we are a partner of theirs, I'm pretty sure they have like essentially, a doubling up of indexing effort for our stuff. Right. When we dealt with the third web incident in December, I noticed that they were able to do a lot of that stuff. So there's definitely a little more help from Rarible in terms of keeping the data up to date in their marketplaces.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was all I had at the moment. So maybe I'll think of something when after someone else starts talking. So
Cool. Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Anybody else with their hand up? Oh, there we go. Here's one.
Yeah, Psycho D.
All right.
Hey guys.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, good. First, thank you for everything you're doing. I'm sorry for the stupid raising hands, but I just arrived 5 minutes ago because I'm in Belgium. It's 3 p.m. almost. Will I have another opportunity to get the Pope, maybe, or not? Because I missed all the other ones because of the time. And so I'm a bit stressed up here. Just woke up. So
I think I
maybe.
can let's see. All right. We can how about this? I'll bring it back in once in a while in the stream and at the end of the stream. How about
Okay,
that?
that's cool, man.
Okay.
Sorry for
All
asking
right.
that. I have many other questions, maybe, but no, that's my only one.
No worries. No worries. You're
All right.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
welcome.
See you later.
All right.
Mhm. All right.
All
Cool.
right. Anybody else? I don't see any other hands raised. Oh, here
I
we go.
think
Oh,
I've got two more.
Colby had another
Okay,
one.
let's get Nima up.
Let's get Nima real quick. All right. Yep.
Oh,
Here we go. Looks like you're on mute
hello,
right
sir.
now,
How's
Nima.
it going?
Nima, looks like you're on mute.
I think you're muted, by the way.
Yep. I'm muted.
Oh,
There we go.
I,
Nima, looks like you're on mute. There we go.
Sorry, guys. How are you today?
Real good.
get yourself.
Oh, I just have a question about the XP calculation on the app.
Yep.
When the new season will be started, because it is for the long time that we have the previous calculation and all accumulated without resetting for the new season. Is there any plan for resetting that? And the other question is that would we have a whole total XP from the day one as a separate leaderboard maybe in the future?
That's a very good question. The idea has been brought up internally in terms of resetting XP, since it's been a little while since the last one. The logical time for us to do that might be end of March, but that's not confirmed yet. But we will most likely be tracking both. The question is just a matter of if we're able to do that in time for that, or if it's really an urgency at that point. But it's been brought up. Yeah, it's on. You could say it's on our radar to at least do a reset. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, thanks. Go to the audience. All right, let's bring Jack back on.
Yeah.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Yeah, so I just thought of some other things. First off, so what is the plan with integration in like to third party like galleries and stuff? Is that still happening? I know you guys did it with like one of the dragons, but I was curious if that was ever if that's still going to happen, or if that was on the roadmap for like some of the other collections.
So you're talking about Nifty Island, I assume?
Well, I mean, I don't particularly love Nifty Island, but the like on Cyber or like Spatial, some of the like online gallery builders.
It's a good question. I think the concept has only bubbled up too recently to really put a timeline on that, to be honest. But the main issue there is that if we did start doing it more, we wouldn't really be able to do it for everything, right? At least not right away. So it's more of a balancing act on, for example, if you take Nifty Island, we had someone kind of bring that up recently, and someone was kind enough to give me a good slate of screenshots from what it was like in that environment. And it works really well for what it does, but it's not fully fleshed out. At least not all of them are as like a true billboard style of experience, right? Because that's the one thing that if ever we went down that road would be very interesting, is if we were able to have that be another source of attention and traffic from those platforms. And I've seen some do it with like a literal click per like dollar per click kind of model on top of that. But so far I haven't seen any that would really meet everything we would kind of need to be able to really talk about it to our partners seriously. So it's definitely there, and clearly there is one figure that's compatible with that stuff right now. I think it's the Eternal Dragon. Yeah, right. We would run out of things to update on that pretty quick this year if we pulled the trigger fully. So yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah. I was just more asking because like some of the environments and stuff, and you can get like a lot of unique kind of artwork, I guess, built in that sense by using some of that like Web3 native collectibles that just kind of import in. So I was just looking to see if that was still on the horizon. But I get the IP issue, and like some people don't want it to kind of go out there in the public like that. So
yeah. Well, to be fair, there was a really cool announcement today from Disney and Epic, right? So it kind of, with the partners we deal with, there's a lot of, what's your neighbor kind of doing and how that affects their business model and their strategies. So if Disney and Epic are able to make a lot of headway on that, and it's not too much of a closed like a walled garden, who knows really, right? So yeah, but I think even their announcement today was very vague as to when this would even be a thing and if, right? So I think they were very careful in not promising anything really off very, very specifically. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, I mean, just with Fortnite itself, like implementing like Lego universe, open world stuff, like it's kind of just building games within the Fortnite universe. Like, who knows what Disney has on the horizon with that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Second question I had was regarding the POAPs. how did you guys kind of come down to the artwork chosen for that? And like, will the POAPs kind of be all in that same universe, or will you guys be cycling out like some new artwork for that stuff in the future?
So we actually full credit for that goes to Veal. He's the one who came up, found them with Todd. The idea there is we wanted a first collection that I could kind of reuse in terms of issuance. So, like I think is one of my announcements this week or end of last week mentioned, there's about 3 more POAPs, including tonight, that use that set of collectibles or images rather. And the idea is to kind of try and cycle those out on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, right? So that we can kind of work with some stuff that is cool, but also in line with what's going on in the moment. So this specific collection made sense. It's the 30th anniversary of McFarlane Toys, so we kept it in line with the McFarlane name. When we recycle this collection, it might be tied to something else, and then we've already got the next 2 sets kind of. We've got the next 2 ideal sets we want kind of scoped out. One of them may or may not be tied to a licensor, but other than that, as you saw, the initial collection this year actually was made by Shane here. The color octagon logo one. So we're going to be doing a mixed bag of things when it comes to the content for the POAPs, but we're going to try to angle ourselves into a more meaningful path, if that makes sense, throughout the year. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was definitely surprised to see like some of the broader kind of Todd artwork getting utilized. Also, I know like a couple of those covers were Capullo, and I don't know he's not just a fan of NFTs in general, so it'll just be interesting moving forward to see if that ever comes back to be a problem.
No, it should be fine because everything that we use does go through an approval process, right? That is one thing. At least on the MTD side, we do have a very stringent process when it comes to that stuff. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess my last question is involved with kind of odd key integration, and I don't know if there's still plans on the horizon to ever bring like Solana into the viewer app to be able to see that content as well, or just if you have any plans to integrate in the future.
I can speak on Solana. Personally, I've had my eye on Solana for a little bit. Obviously, it's had its return in the last 4 months. The thing there is I'm currently looking at choices between that and other chains. We're not really, a company that's married to any specific blockchain, for the very reason that we have to protect the content more so than the relationship to a blockchain. So Solana is definitely was on a short list of mine. It's not off of this short list. It's more so a question of which chain actually provides the best partnership and growth if we ever bring a second one on, and maybe a third if ever. And I think 3 would be a lot, to be honest, but yeah, the idea of 2 chains at least though is not foreign to conversations internally, but it's a question of just strategy a little bit. When it comes to Oddkey, again, I don't really know much about that actually. Veal and I meet with Todd weekly, so on that front, there's not much I know of right now. So perhaps Todd will have some stuff to talk about next week, but for now I don't.
Okay, yeah, just kind of poking the conversation. So just
fair.
based on that last statement, actually, does that mean that you guys are like working more with the Polygon developer side, and that's why you're kind of like you get a lot of support from them, and that's why you kind of stuck with this chain?
Actually, the choice of Polygon was more around fees. That was the good testament was that a good testament to that was when we had the third web incident. Actually, I'm sorry, I keep using that word, but it wasn't third web's fault. The Open Zeppelin incident in December.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, it actually didn't cost us a lot in the grand scheme of things to migrate everything. And so had it been on mainnet or another chain, it could have been worse. And luckily enough, we didn't have like the third web, and a lot of the ecosystem partners covered a lot of that migration for us, which was nice of them. But we actually work more with third web than Polygon, if that makes sense. Polygon's been pretty helpful. But we're again like, yeah, sorry if that answers your question. We're actually closer to the builders on the chain than the maintainers of the chain. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think that's all I have. I'll get some other people over here, I guess.
No, cool questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, later.
Thanks so much.
No problem.
Looks like we got another one with their hand up here.
Yep.
All right. And it looks like you're on mute right now. JLT Fong. There you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great,
Yeah.
thanks. Looking forward to the Green Lantern tomorrow.
So are we?
All right, so my question for the long-term survival success of MTD, just wondering what the plans are to kind of grow the number of item holders, right? Be great if that was doubled, but in terms of drawing more to the community, can you speak to some of the things you might be doing, like more of a partnership with toys to make toy holders aware that there is this NFT community out there?
Yeah, so I can definitely talk to the idea of growing from the MTD side of things. A lot of the changes that have been put in place this month and that we kind of hinted at for this coming month are to make that easier. I actually had the chance to finally meet in person my counterpart who runs the toy side. He's got a lot of cool ideas as well. So I'm gonna not put the cart in front of the horse here and let them announce their things when they're ready. But they do have some really cool ideas, and in our case, the promos that we give out now are a good testament to that. We're slowly but surely trying to bridge that gap. And actually, the idea of us getting this Twitter account is in line with that, so that we can actually be a little more liberal with how we market this project. And kind of started from scratch in that sense. Actually, I saw earlier I think we're over 80 followers already today, just from the toy site, the toy account on Twitter, reposting one of our tweets. So hopefully we keep growing that semi-organically over the next couple of weeks, where we can really kick in some proper growth ideas and partnership ideas with the toy store over the next 2 quarters, if that makes any sense. Not really in this slide is in the deck that I showed earlier, is we're actively planning our San Diego Comic-Con timeline, you can say, and to ramp up a lot of content and ideas around that specific week. So obviously the toy store has a massively bigger presence than we do at Comic-Con. So in that vein, there's going to hopefully be some cool ideas we can talk about in the coming months. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
I can see who's got their hand raised. Doesn't look like we have any more hand raised. I do have a quick question for you. I know there's been some talk about the updating of the app. I know on my side, I've personally experienced some struggles on the Mac side. Can we give an update on the progress with that?
So the update on the Mac app specifically, or overall?
Yeah, the Mac app really. I'm just being selfish and concerned about myself.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so we're actually right after this, I have to go test one of those builds. So yeah, it was an interesting tidbit of issues, but in terms of timeline, we're hopefully looking at sometime in the next 5 days, considering that 5 days is over the weekend as well. Are you asking about what was the actual source of the issues?
Oh, no, just an update to see how things are coming along.
Yeah, it's more that we realized that we had to make sure a lot of things were still working properly after this update. it turns out we had to update quite a few things under the hood to make these new Mac OS changes functional. So that's been the crux of this troubleshooting that the devs have been in for the probably 2 weeks now at least, and we had assumed it'd be a much quicker fix than that. So I think that we do suspect that this was caused by the Vision Pro Mac OS updates that were pushed last month. So we're hoping that they're happy with their builds with that device, and that they can leave the rest of us non VR people happy for a couple more months. So yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I appreciate that. Thanks.
You guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
All right, great, man. First of all, I'd like to thank you everyone, man. You're doing a great work. I've been there since the first drop, man, in November, December, a year ago, and it was awesome. I just want to say thank you. Besides that, your new website is awesome. I have to say as well, man. I see Spawn and I see the Violator there as the first image. You think there will be some other burns in the Spawn series for other potential collectibles?
There might be.
Is that might be a plan?
Yeah, there might be.
There might be, yeah.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, man. It was nice speaking.
No problem.
No problem. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
All right. Who else? Oh, we got Sorry No Salad.
Yeah, it's good. All these names are really familiar now.
Yeah.
With all these airdrops and all these.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry No Salad, you're on mute. There you go.
Hey, can you hear me, guys?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, thanks for having me up, man.
Yeah.
No, I was just wondering, guys, like with this platform, personally, I've kind of struggled with keeping up to date with, the gamification part of it because, you guys have a desktop app and, it's a mobile world these days. And I do understand, that these models and these things, they need compute power and they need a desktop app, but when it comes to things like the XP and leaderboard and sets and all these kind of things, like maybe not sets, but more the XP and leaderboard and stuff. Do you guys have any plans of adding that part to the website? Because I personally would probably engage more if I saw myself on the leaderboard more often, but I don't. That's a me thing. I don't log on to the desktop app too often. So is there any plans of adding, just the leaderboard and how much XP you have to the website?
The one thing about the website, and I think when you guys talk about the website, you're talking about the marketplace, not the landing site where we make our posts now.
Yeah, but where you would mint from, you connect your wallet to it, so it should know who you are, right? And then hopefully show something to do with your account, like it shows your collectibles.
Mm-hmm. So the thing with that website is it's ran and hosted by Rarible. So we don't have an easy way of putting in all the customization of our own systems in there. That's just the way that's designed. That being said, I wouldn't rule out what you're saying in the medium term, if that's a hint at anything. We have been talking about internally as to how to make it easier for you guys to view, for my sake more than anything. If you're actually in an allow list, what's your rank and that kind of stuff. So the question actually is good because of this Mac OS update delay, we're a little behind by a week or two on some ideas we kind of wanted to work on in February, or at least get started on. So that the whole web experience is front and center, obviously, because we're dealing with not just someone like yourself who's used to it, but we're trying to bring on more users from the toy side, which is something that was also talked about tonight. So with all that in mind, like we are actively looking at all the different friction points in the onboarding and referral mechanisms we have between just the McFarlane ecosystem and not even thinking about what's outside of it. just yet. But yeah, I wouldn't say you're not going to see changes on those things in the coming months. But just because of this delay with Mac OS and our bandwidth, like I can't really confidently say, you'll see something in a month or 2 or 3 right now, right? So yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for me.
Anyways.
All right. Thank you so much. It looks like I got another question down here.
Striding cloud.
Yes.
Yep.
And
Hey,
right.
hello everyone.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Yourself?
Excellent.
Good. Nice to meet you.
Oh, hey then. I have this. It was just a thought that just kind of came to mind. Like, I started collecting like the physical stuff, and with a DC figure, you get like a little collector card. I was just kind of wondering, like, if there's a way, like, digitally we can do that too, or even like just like a PDF, like just like oh, this is the collectible you got, like, or how rare it is, kind of like a little profile, like the website I already have, but like a little card form. But it doesn't have to be like an NFT, or even like a PDF would be kind of cool. So at the end, you have like a little catalog of what you own.
Interesting. So you're saying only you would get this when you buy a physical toy, or
Yeah,
for your
something like that. But
profile,
it doesn't
or
have to be like an additional NFT for it, or even like a little PDF file you can download.
yeah. Okay, interesting. What would be
Yeah.
the reason to have that?
Like just like a little profile. Like
visible?
for example, if you get like a Spawn figure, it has like
Mhm.
a profile, like a PDF or something like that. It says like, oh,
Ah,
this is what it's called, how rare it is, and then kind of like a little advertisement. Hey, look for the other versions or something like that.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
just
what
like a
you're
stickler for cataloging things, so it's kind of nice to have those things.
yeah, I think what you're describing is actually, what the metadata is in a way, right? The attributes we put on
Yeah,
on
exactly.
each
But in
token,
like a
and
little more portable way instead of like me screen grabbing it and then save it on my computer.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a Web 3.1 thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
perhaps.
interesting. Yeah, there was
Yeah, and
actually
then
it's interesting you bring that up. There was a community that reached out not too long ago, that is supposedly, working on patented stuff for on-chain PDFs. And I think the application in our sphere is kind of obvious. I won't go into it too much, but yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of people too that ask us sometimes if our assets are on chain and stuff like that too, right? So,
mhm.
which for the viewer app, they're not, but it is a good question, because obviously these files can be pretty big, and so not every chain is set up to handle that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it's an interesting idea. Yeah, it's worth thinking about.
Thanks. And then I have another question. You did mention about SDCC this year. Is there like anything planned on the digital side, or not like exactly an idea of like an exclusive or convention, or just like a different colorway, perhaps for the future? Or I
Maybe.
don't know if it's possible to do like, oh, we can sell an upcoming like a MTD product, but that has like a little Comic-Con logo on the base or something
Oh.
like that. Nothing like very different, but something that's like special for people going. It's just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah. I think we're actually planning right now the not just the logistics, but some of the ideas with licensors and without licensors, right? So it's more that your question is a good one. It's just a little too early. That makes sense. But yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
No, I'm glad. It seems like you guys already thought about it. It's gonna be fun to see like how a digital collecting kind of graduate like kind of evolves, or kind of how it grows up into in the
Oh yeah,
future.
for sure. We've got a. I think obviously I wasn't around last year's, but this year being Batman's anniversary, Obviously, our partners are doing their own stuff. Probably we don't know about what they're doing yet, but there's probably every single partner we have under on the books, whether it's in comics or Web3 or Web2, they're all probably going to be there this year in some way or another. So it's we're thinking of already doing some more traditional stuff that's pretty cool, and but there's some newer ideas we're trying to flesh out with some partners and internally that we'll see what sticks essentially, right? Because I think everybody under the sun would love to have a unique or cool thing or event, but I think right now we're just one of those. We're throwing ideas at the wall and seeing what sticks internally and externally. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
makes sense.
for
I do
sure.
that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
No worries.
All right. Thanks so much.
So I had a question. The desktop app, I mean, I really enjoy it, but I hear other people say that it's, I don't know, for some reason they're not too into it. It's another desktop app to download and stuff. I'm curious of, I know some of the assets like the dragons are interoperable, and you can also, that sizzle reel kind of highlighted that other dApps will be able to utilize some of these assets, which is really cool. I'm wondering, is your focus going to be mostly on the desktop app going forward? Maybe, I don't know about timeline, or is this year going to be also heavily focused on like dApps or partnerships or something?
And
Does that make sense?
oh no, it does. Yeah. So without you promising or giving anything away, our focus is growth this year, right? So everything growth related goes into the factoring with a very, very heavy weight. So it's more around the question of what actually brings that growth, whether it be partnership, platform, utility, whatever. So the desktop app actually has a good advantage in many ways. Right now, obviously, this delay with updating it and fixing it for Mac is a negative, but it's part of running any kind of app, whether it be desktop or VR or mobile or AR, right? So right now we're kind of exploring, how to make our content more utility friendly. Because I think that's actually the bigger pain point across the board, based on what I'm hearing, is not a lot of projects are able to actually, give life to these characters and these assets that we're essentially, blessed to use. So that's really the main focus that we're trying to figure out. So one, growth is more important than anything, but two, our mandate is to really demonstrate utility for these, right? So right now everybody's kind of proven across the board that you can give business utility to these things, but for the collector and the user and people like us who create them and host them, essentially it's about, okay, well, Web 2 and 3 are still kind of butting heads and trying to see how they can mesh together properly. I think the example with Disney today is a good one. But so far, I didn't see any players in there that were blockchain related or Web3 related. They just used a lot of terms that Web3 has been using, right? So it's a bit of a medium to long term game, I think, right? Because these players have been operating in the space for a little while now, but there's never really any concrete plans shot through. So in our case, what we're really trying to make sure of is if we do invest a lot of time into something right now, that it does provide, the certainty for longevity more than anything. Yeah, if that makes sense. So that's my answer without actually giving you too much of an answer. Sorry.
I don't know
But
if
yeah.
we could speculate on that. I have another question with the desktop app.
Yeah.
Has there been talk about like bringing in your own 3D assets to expand accessories, if you will, if you want to call it that? or like even like Gaussian splats or something, like scan your own thing with your phone, and then you can utilize that in the showroom to
Yeah. I think because of the nature of what we work with, any kind of idea around scan your own thing, it would probably be a little scary to some partners. But again, that's kind of why we're trying to make sure we can fix this app right now, like the desktop app, because we do want it to be useful. So, and it does hold promise to it. So I would say that once we can get these builds done, I'll actually be able to think about ideas properly and concretely, right? So there's just not much else I can say around the desktop app other than we want to make sure it's in a good place very soon. Yeah.
cool. I have one more question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This is just more, I guess, a general interoperable question. I don't know that much about it. Like, so for the two dragons that are you can download right now,
Mhm.
can any DApp just use it, or do you have to have a partnership? Do you have to have an agreement with McFarlane? Do they have to have an agreement with McFarlane to use them?
I guess it kind of depends on the DApp itself. I think the way that one was designed, it was meant to be purely interoperable. That being said, I was actually surprised when I heard that it worked in Nifty Island. I don't think anybody had tried actually to bring it into something else, at least not as far as I knew. So, um, to answer your question, it was kind of a fluke of a good coincidence. Like it just someone tried it out and it worked, right? I think it had been tested before my time, but it had not been at the forefront of our thoughts when I think it was Jay Pabst who came back with that finding. So yeah,
I
it
didn't
is an
know that. I
interesting
didn't hear
thing.
about that. That's cool. So it's like
Yeah,
it came in 3D.
yeah, yeah. It looks. I think
Oh,
if
interesting.
if you scroll up a couple days or maybe a couple weeks, I think he dropped some pictures. So yeah,
Oh, cool. All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.
anyways.
All right, thanks so much. All right, we're coming up on the hour here.
Mhm.
I don't see any other hands raised, and you were nice enough to put the code up for a bit longer there. That was very nice, very nice. I think we had over 70 people at one point, so hopefully everybody had a chance to get it. And I think,
Yeah, I'll just
yeah,
double check here. I don't think. Yeah, I think people got it.
nice. Yeah, that's. I
Yep.
mean, I'm a big fan of the POAP myself. I think it encourages participation, and and it's just a fun thing to have. So I like that we're bringing those back, and you're doing it in a big way. So I'm excited about those.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a pretty cool. We've essentially got a minting machine working under the hood right now for it. So I was actually pretty surprised. I had the when I gave the ask over to our devs, I think the lift was not very high, but the result actually has been pretty smooth. So I think the first collection had one or two little mishaps. Some of you got test POAPs accidentally, but that's just because I was the one
Yeah.
fiddling with it when I shouldn't have. So yeah, that was basically it. But no, so am I. Yeah, they're pretty cool, and I mean, it's I also hope that we don't run into like a cheesy line real quick because it can get cheesy pretty quick too. But at the same time, it's nice. It's nice to be able to diversify, and like we had talked about in December, right? The whole point of where we'd like to be at the end of 2024 is to have these different categories of collectibles, not just the high quality ones, but the lower cost ones and these more utility and attendance based ones. Everything like this is cool.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for the shout out as well. That was a lot of fun putting that piece of artwork together, and to see a piece of artwork turned into an NFT was actually really, really special. I appreciate you letting me participate in that. So thank you very much.
Just be careful doing good work.
Yeah, that's right. Just leads to more work. I've had that.
Exactly.
I've had that happen before. So.
But yeah, cool. thanks everyone for showing up, and thanks again, Shane,
Yeah.
for hosting this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Have a good one.